Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are going to be finishing off the last day of the Haute Couture season. Sorry this video is a little bit late. In reality, we're going to finish out this whole couture season with three okay shows. First we're going to be talking about Margiela, and then we're going to be going on to Valentino, and finally we're going to be talking about Balmain. Before we get any further into the video, if you guys are looking for a channel that talks about fashion in the most fun, sassy, bitchy, analytical way, this is it. So you can go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on my post notifications. I mean, like, what do you have to lose? You've literally come to the third day of Haute Couture. Like, you have nothing fucking better to do, obviously. But without further ado, let's get into the Margiela, as my mother likes to say. John Galliano has breathed life into Margiela. The artisanal Margiela collection is one that is especially interesting each season, and from what I understand, the House of Margiela does not brand these shows Haute Couture. If I was being honest, I would say that it is much more Iris Van Herpen than it is Dior Haute Couture. And I think that the perfect navigator for any Margiela artisanal show is the Margiela podcast. John on the podcast discussed how the collection pretty much revolved around the idea of decadence. Decadence is defined as the moral or cultural decline of a society due to excessive indulgence. But John Galliano is also literally one of the most decadent designers to ever not only put on a fashion show, but also just to like exist. And I think to take a look at this concept is like kind of scary, but also very enlightening. I think that the overboard prints and just overall over design really played into the decadence idea. John definitely included a lot of his Margiela-isms, leaving a frame of clothing. He was really like deconstructing in terms of Margiela. And like Dior, it's so over the fucking top that you're like, okay bro, we get it. And also the collection kind of takes a little bit of a dig at the ideas of Haute Couture due to the fact that they're like neon trimmed feathers and this like iridescent floral embroidery. It seems like it kind of is this critique on our modern society mixed with the luxuries of Haute Couture. Also, there are a few looks that have this like piping that kind of comes around and essentially puts a little barrier between the actual looks, which is the same print as the wall behind. So like the fact that he did this sort of piping that essentially gives a little bit of a silhouette, it's kind of like, wow, okay, smarter than I'll ever be, great. Somehow John wanted the looks to feel overwhelming, but now that I know that, I kind of feel less overwhelmed by it because I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Last season, John played with this idea of nomadic society in social media, and this season, he really was using the mirrored runway as a way to create an alternative reality, considering, you know, we kind of do sort of live in an alternative reality in a way, at least when it comes to social media. And while that's all fine and good and, you know, it's smart, I didn't really feel like this was John's strongest collection. That might be a personal thing. I also just might not really be even all that interested in the clothes. But other Margiela collections have been much stronger to me, and while I get the use of over-design, I feel like there is so much over-design in fashion now naturally that it's like, oh, I'm good, thanks. But I will say that the collection is kind of good for reflection and really thinking about the inspiration here. It does kind of feel nice to like take a step back and be like, oh yeah, we're doing a lot right now. I don't even like, you know, I'm in it, but like there's a lot going on. Now let's talk about Valentino, which is like what we all really want to get into, you know. Pier Paolo Pacioli at Valentino is on such a roll, I'm honestly really scared. Like, this straight man literally can do no wrong. Yes, update, he is straight. I found that out after I said he was gay on the internet. I'm sorry. Anyways, he's straight. And I never thought that I would say, oh my God, like a straight man can do no wrong, but here we are. Pier Paolo this season really wanted to find beauty in the tradition and uniqueness of Haute Couture, the experience. Except he wanted the experience not to be the behind the scenes experience. He really wanted it to be this flawless, just sort of treat for everybody involved. And I think everybody from the couture clients to literally everybody on Twitter was like, wow, pleased. In an interview, Pier Paolo was quoted as saying he doesn't believe in modernist couture. I don't think that's like an actual term, but like, let's talk about it. I think when we're talking about couture, maybe I don't really explain a lot. But couture is founded on 6 different principles. I don't know all 6 of them. I'll insert them. Bing, bang, boom, bang, bing, bang. But a lot of the modern couturiers, like somebody like John Galliano, not that he's a modern couturier, but he's working with Margiela, where he's not actually doing like couture. And Iris Van Herpen is another one that you're just like, okay girl, like laser cut, 3D print, like go off, do it. I don't think he's saying, oh, I don't like that. I think he's really just saying like, that's cool, but with Valentino, I'm gonna focus on, you know, these real aspects of couture that have been around for so long. In a way, I think Pier Paolo does create modernist couture. It might not be modern in the techniques used, but between the masculine cuts of his pants, his really floral but like strong and present dresses and gowns, and I also think the unabashed jewel tones, they're just like, what up bitch, like try it. And these factors do really create the image of a woman or a man or a person that really wants to like get jiggy with Valentino Couture, who's not afraid of standing out and really being the center of attention in like a positive way. Like she's sitting there minding her own business, but like you're like, oh my god, she looks so good. On top of this traditional couture, Pier Paolo also was looking at the concept of diversity and inclusivity. Pier Paolo cited references like the Black Madonna or the editorials out of Ebony and Jet magazine from the 1970s, and also the all-black issue that was done by Vogue Italia. And with 42 of the looks being worn by models of Black descent, it just felt natural. Like it was always meant to be this way, and the fact that we're here now is weird because it's like, I don't get why this just isn't normal. It almost felt like this is what our society like should have been like from the very beginning. But getting into the clothes, oh my god, they were stunning. And if you're gonna watch one couture show this season, like actually like watch the full thing, not click off of it after like 2 minutes, I recommend it be Valentino. It's like so gorgeous in motion. The show started with a beautiful pink gown that enshrouded the model's head and torso, except for her face. And then the fabric around her was gathered and then sewn so that it looked like there were flowers embedded in the fabric, and it was just like, okay, wow, okay, cool, like, okay, cool, yeah, sure. And the look that followed was this neon orange wide leg pant that had a white feather cape top that just like flowed, and I was like, beautiful, a beautiful, a beautiful, a beautiful. Like it was fucking gorgeous. Then there was this crew of casual looks, which were simple but effective. And then Pier Paolo continued to lure the audience in with his beautiful mixing of jewel tones, which seems like genuinely the best color blocking a runway has ever seen. Now, the 80s drop waist dresses or something that in photo look a bit messy, but when you see them in motion, you're like, holy shit, there is so much sass, there is so much attitude. I don't think I can actually handle it. And then Pier Paolo also mixes 2 different floral patterns, which are like totally different styles of florals. And I had to look at multiple looks to make sure like I wasn't being crazy, but like he does it so well that it's like camouflaged. The show ended with a major sequence of jewel tone dresses that were very heavy in the techniques of haute couture. And then Naomi Campbell closed the show out of literally nowhere. Everybody was like, what? Naomi, hi. Oh my god, okay, it's day 3 of haute couture. Like I look a fucking mess. Naomi, hi. Oh my god. I'm so shocked to see you here. The dress that she wore was sheer at the bust, and then once it hit the waist, it turned into this like ruffle flamenco moment. I'll be honest, I think on anybody but Naomi, it would have been a rough dress to pull off. On Naomi, she pulls it off. All that well? No, but she's Naomi, so she really yanked that fucking dress over the threshold. And also, Pat McGrath continues to be that bitch as she literally makes eyelashes with feathers natural. And genuinely, it's just amazing. And you know, Valentino really loves a little feather moment. Every season, they're making big hats, small hats, crazy jellyfish hats, and now eyelashes. You're welcome, world. You're really welcome. Finally, let's talk about Balmain, one of the most expected shows of the season. Not because everybody was like, oh my god, Balmain is gonna be so good. It's just that this was the first time Balmain was doing haute couture in a long time, and Olivier Roustan was like debuting as a little haute couture. So, you know, we looked. Now, considering that the house of Balmain was founded by Pierre Balmain, who was an haute couturier pretty famous in the 50s and 60s, you know, it's good that Balmain is back to haute couture. Shockingly, it has not always been skinny jeans and beaded jackets. I know. I personally think that Olivier has put out beautiful collections. I am going to cite Fall 2017 and Spring 2017. They might not be everybody's cup of tea, but there is no doubt that he can create a beautiful, yet engaging and thought-provoking collection. Another thing to keep in mind is that Balmain is often labeled demi-couture. Reviewers like to use the word, although I don't think it actually is a real word. But it's fashion, so you make up words all the time. But essentially, it's not haute couture in the strict standings of haute couture, because let's be real, there are some pretty strict standings about haute couture. Maybe I should do a video about the strict standings of haute couture. But between the beading work and Olivier's quite sexy tailoring, it has aspects of haute couture which are much more prominent than other brands. So I think that the Balmain owners who are like new were like, oh yeah, haute couture, demi-haute couture, like, yeah, let's do that. And Olivier, I think he just likes to, you know, be the center of attention for a little bit. And honestly, fine. Well, this debut couture collection really was a tacky mix of avant-garde and haute couture, with the avant-garde severely overlapping, almost drowning out the haute couture. I just want to say that avant-garde is not the same thing as haute couture. Haute couture is very, like, refined, handcrafted skill. Avant-garde is like artistic fashion that is meant to really be a show, but not always super wearable. I think Olivier decided that he needed to show off his avant-garde mindset instead of the haute couture techniques that, honestly, I think everybody was kind of expecting. The first three looks were tailored well. Maybe not tailored well, but they were tailored. I actually enjoyed the ideas of these three looks, but I don't think the execution was really where we wanted it at. I don't think the fabric was amazing. That light neoprene, I don't think is necessarily an haute couture fabric. And the fact that the pants didn't really fit well, and the way that the fabric sort of slumped over sometimes, it gave me a bit of agita. The next three looks are just genuinely ruined by themselves. I don't know what they're supposed to be inspired by, but whatever it is, please get uninspired by them fast. No one is going to buy a solid skirt, but I will say I really do like the mohair beautiful turtleneck on top. Maybe that's what it's meant to be accentuating, but like, the paper mache shit's still ugly. The shell dress is kind of ruined by those weird arm binders, and then the big pearl gauntlets that look like they're weighing the model's body down. And then the paper mache titties are not helping either. And then also, let's be real, like, it looks bumpy, it looks lumpy. It's haute couture. You think they'd be able to like paper mache properly. In reality, it's so costumey that it lacks the clothing aspect. And haute couture is not about costume, it's about the clothes. The next look though gives me a little bit of hope because it has this coral-like heavy strand work and it's embellished. And then it has these beautiful pants that flow into this heavy feathered aura. And this is what Olivier should be giving. This is the Balmain haute couture. Beautiful jackets, beautiful pants, and using your embellished over the top crazy, audacious extraness to make the clothes extra. Then there's an 80s sharp shoulder dress, and I'm like, okay, cool, but then it like splits into this like weird iRobot pleating, and it scares me. And then it just keeps going and going and going. But then we get a look that, again, very Olivier Balmain. Jeans, make them couture. You are doing it. That's what you gotta do. I like the netting underneath. It's very chic. Honestly, this is what you're meant to be doing, not some crazy over-the-top shit that makes literally no sense and that we've never seen from you. But also, again, I really dissuade you from using those pearl gauntlets that literally look so dreadful. Dreadful. Then we get more looks that are very yuck. Then we get more looks that are so costumey, it scares me. It's like robo hookers on ice. And I'm sorry that I said the word hookers, but like robo sex workers on ice doesn't sound as funny. And then we get a sweater dress. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is that church window pane sort of architectural Balmain mosaic thing that we get a lot, but it's like couture. I don't think the taste level is there, but like, you know, it's Balmain. And I'm like, okay, I know her, let her into the club. Like, That's what I'm looking for. So it's good, it makes sense, I'm here for it. I'll take what I can get at this point. And then all the paint splatter bullshit does not say anything. It's not interesting. Honestly, it's kind of like cut and paste from a bunch of different people. It's not that cute. And then we get this embellished blazer dress, and while I'm not like, oh my God, I love her, it's just, wow, a familiar face. Like, I don't know who any of these people are. There's somebody I know. I might not like her a lot, but like, you know damn well sure I'm gonna fucking hold on to her with all life because I don't know anybody else. It's not cute, but you know, there's haute couture aspects, there's the feather work, there's the embellishment, it's a blazer dress. I'm like, okay, great, let's go. In general, this collection just felt like what Olivier and his team thinks haute couture should be. And the thing is, if you're trying to do everything that everybody else does, it's never gonna work. You need to like add your own spin on it. Like, you do what you do, but do it with a bunch of old French lady seamstresses. I feel like Olivier put on more of a theatrical performance than a fashion show. And the thing is, girl, nobody's paying $100,000 for your theatrical performance. And they're not gonna pay for the clothes now either. In general, Olivier, I see some hope, but like, girl, get it together and get it together fast, okay? One of the biggest things that came out of the show was not really the clothes, but it was the body painting. Now, a lot of people were calling this blackface, and I just genuinely don't think people know what blackface is. And if you don't know what blackface is and you want to know, or you don't know what blackface is and you're thinking, well, I don't care, well, you should fucking learn about it. I think blackface is really well defined in this documentary titled The Origins of the Sambo, the Coon, and the Mammy. This is not blackface. And I know I'm white, and I know I'm trying to say what blackface is, but technically, in the terms given of what blackface is, black models wearing blackface put on by a black designer isn't technically blackface. The one thing I will say is there is a lot of colorism, I think, in the show, and I think a lot of people are upset about that. Colorism is defined as the prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Now, notable models like Cindy Bruna and Yasani Brito were painted darker than they actually are. Now, I see where the accusations of colorism come in. People were saying, oh, these models should not have taken these jobs. You could have given them to a dark-skinned person. And I think in a perfect world, yes, they could have. But in the fashion world, it's not perfect. And I just genuinely don't think Olivier did it to be malicious. So it's rough. So with that, that's the end of the video. That's the end of haute couture. I'm sorry it's late, apologies, but I'm gonna be churning out videos, I promise, I hope, crossing my fingers. So I will see you guys on the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Please, let's have a good old comment let's have a good old comment section that is polite and nice and kind and caring, please. But I will see you guys in the next video and TTYL.